Welcome to Texas 10. I'm Melissa.
And I'm Bluesy Steve.
He's bluesy, all right. Well, we are here with another Texas Troubadour series, and today we have a very special guest. We have Kay Bell. She's from right here in Waco, Texas, and she's going to talk to us a little bit about Blind Willie Johnson, who is an iconic blues musician.
Right, correct.
So welcome, Kay.
Thank you.
You didn't always know about Blind Willie.
I did not always know about Blind Willie Johnson.
All right, so we're going to jump to the end of the story and explain what you did about Blind Willie Johnson. Then we're going to figure out how you got there.
How I got there. Okay. Well, it's just really strange. One day, two gentlemen came to my house to buy my husband's, he walks with two staffs.
Okay.
And they came to my house to buy those staffs. And one of them works for KWBTU radio station. Oh. And he asked me, what did I do? And I told him I was a retired teacher and I wasn't doing anything right now, trying to think of another play to write. And then he says, well, you should write a play about Blind Willie Johnson. And I was like, who is that? I've never heard of Blind Willie Johnson. He said, oh, he was a great icon in his day. And he was right down the road, Marlin, Texas. And that really just piqued my curiosity, like, wow, okay, so that sounds pretty good. And so when he left, I told him, I said, hey, I'm going to look into it and let you know what I come up with. So sure enough, when he left, I began to do some research about the life of Blind Willie Johnson. And I was really intrigued with the life that he had lived, being blind and all the accomplishment that he achieved as a blind person. So I was just really intrigued with it. And I thought, I can do that. I can make this happen. And, so one of the things I knew I could make it happen with, he had more than one wife.
A little drama. I've never heard anybody.
Wonder, yeah.
And I thought, I could kind of make that work in a play,
A little spice.
There you go.
Spice helps in a play. So you're a playwright.
Yes.
So that is amazing. All right. So Blind Willie Johnson, tell us a little about where he's from and kind of his roots.
Okay. According to what I researched and found, he was born in the rural of Brenham, Texas. And then his parents moved them to Marlin, Texas when he was just a young child. And he lived with his mom and dad. Then mom died and dad remarried again. And so when dad remarried again, his stepmother was a very angry, feisty person. So one day dad and the stepmom got into an argument. And they were at the kitchen table arguing, and she picked up a can of lye, and she threw it at Dad.
Oh.
And when she threw it, the lye splashed in his eyes. And Blind Willie, he was only like 8 or 9 years old.
That's just that's a tragic story.
That's a tragic story.
And I don't know if today they would have things that could work with that, but this was back in the
30s,
right?
20s, yeah.
20s, yeah.
He was born in like late 1800s.
Right. Yeah.
All right. So even before then, long time ago, and in rural Texas there, I'm guessing the emergency room wasn't like it is today. So that leaves 8-year-old boy blind, and he was pretty much blind. It wasn't I can see shapes.
Right. Yeah. So he was blind from then on out. And so what I found after, only thing that really he could do real well was pick at his dad. He loved music. And so his dad made him a guitar out of a cigar box. And he put some wire, I'm not real sure how, put some wire on the cigar box. And then he put a stick on the end of it. And the wire, and made him a guitar.
Right. Well, that is actually, my friend actually she and her husband made cigar box guitars.
Really?
And in the Appalachians, a lot of that music people were very poor and they would make cigar box guitars. And so that makes sense, if he didn't have a lot of money, but it shows the ingenuity of his dad.
Yeah.
And honestly, the love that he had for his son, I would guess, to want him to have something.
Well, the stepmom should have been doing this.
Well, we don't like her.
Right. She's a villain in the story. But, as a playwright, it does to me, I think plays, they often get to sort of the essence of human nature, right? And you go to a movie and sometimes it can be surface level, but plays, a really good play, I think always speaks to some sort of primal drive. And that to me speaks to how much music means to people. That, as poor as you are, or they find a way to make music.
Right.
And we've been interviewing musicians, and so many of them are self-taught. And it sounds like Blind Willie was as well.
Self-taught, yeah.
And so then he progressed to playing the steel guitar, right? Is that right?
He did. He progressed.
So tell me, what was the influence, his musical influence? What inspired him, and what kind of music was his inspiration and his background?
Most of his music was gospel. He sung a lot of gospel music and went to a lot of churches singing gospel music. But he got his most fame was back then in the 20s and 30s. African American had what they call a chitlin juke.
Say that again?
What's that?
Chitlins.
Right.
Yeah, I know chitlins.
Juke joint.
Chitlin juke joint. There you go.
That
Right.
really fast.
Chitlin
Don't
juke
say
joint.
it, really don't.
Okay.
So like I say, most of his music was gospel, but to where he reached his fame, somebody invited him to one of the chitlin juke joint, and that's where they served chitlins, and that's mostly how they paid the player.
Right.
They had a good meal of chitlins, greens, and so he came into the chitlin juke joint and began to play his music and gospel music, but he saw people were kind of, dancing.
That gospel music and dancing, we're Baylor grads. That wasn't allowed. So
you obviously haven't been to an African American church where there's lots of gospel, because that choir dances.
Yes. But anyway, so he started to change his music just a little in the chitlin juke joint to some blues words, to fit in with the blues thing. So that's how he got it started at a chitlin juke joint. They had in Marlin, Texas, singing, and so happened a Columbia record guy came through Marlin, Texas.
Okay, now that's not likely to happen today, I don't think, but
that's right.
Right, but that Marlin was a train route, I think.
Yeah.
And I know Hilton built one of his first hotels there. It's not in good shape now, but it was a pretty big hotel.
So I was just about to say that. So it makes sense that at that time, someone could have come through and stayed at that hotel.
Right.
Heard him. Okay, so the Columbia executive hears him, and then what?
Well, he hears about Blind Willie Johnson, and he talks to him and listens to him sing, and he's very impressed with what he hears and all of the things that he's done with the guitar and everything. So he invites him to Dallas. And once he invites him to Dallas, he puts him in another chitlin juke joint. Those were a big thing for African American people. So he puts him up in Dallas in the chitlin juke joint, singing and playing. And from there, he signed him up with the Columbia record.
And so Columbia was, I think, like the record company back then.
Right.
So that was to get plucked out of Marlin, Texas, and I mean, it was sort of, pressed records had been a thing for a little while, but I think this is when things were really getting popular. Like there were Americans that were starting to buy them and have collections, and so I know that generally gospel forms the background or forms the background for a lot of our music.
Right.
Blues, rock, country. You can trace a lot of it back to gospel. But like you said, change the words up a little bit.
Yeah.
So was it? And so were the records successful, or?
Yeah, the records were very successful. His the record, I think it's one Dying Can't Stop the Dying Bed or something. One of them was sold as much as Ma Rainey.
Wow. Okay.
Yes.
So, right.
So,
Ma Rainey, everybody knows.
Right.
Well, not everybody now, but people our age know.
Right. There you go. Right. So his records were very successful. He sung with some very highly successful African American blues singers back then.
Well, and he recorded in the Deep Ellum Studios,
Right.
correct, in Dallas. So that was amazing.
And there was a blues scene there, and it just a segue real quick. If you are in Dallas, and especially if you're around downtown, or if you're in Deep Ellum, go into the alleyways because they have all of these people commemorated in some awesome murals, and it is really cool to go back and look, and some great artists, and it does, music is such a big part of our culture, and it really is the roots of American music as opposed to European or whatever. And it's a great commemoration of that.
And Blind Willie is one of the murals. So, so he recorded. So tell us about these ladies in his life. I'm a little interested.
It is interesting.
Love Island.
Because he happened to meet a woman now his name is Willie.
Right.
So he happens to meet a woman named Willie. Her name's Willie Mae, and his name is Willie. So they were two Willies married. Now she began to sing with him, background sing with him. So she's really excited. She's from Marlin, Texas. I don't know exactly if they married, but they lived together. Yeah, there you go. And so, and I think they had a daughter, and she was his background singer for years, and very successfully singing with them, happy, and I think he kind of got really big, started going way up to Chicago. She kind of stayed back. He started singing.
Take care of the kids.
Yeah. And he started singing in New Orleans. Oh,
Sin City.
What? there.
And he met another lady named Angelina. And she could sing too.
Right. Well, that must have been a requirement for Willie.
A woman who can carry a tune.
Got to carry a tune if you're going to be
And a
with me.
woman who wants to back me,
Right.
not be the lead singer.
Yeah. So, in New Orleans, he met Angelina, and she was a backup singer for him, and they recorded some records also.
Right.
And so in the midst of, they say he legal married Angelina, but I don't think he did with Willie. Right. So, but anyway.
For Willie Mae.
I
But Willie Mae
know.
was his first love.
Right.
So when you wrote this play, did you intertwine these relationships into the play?
did.
What was the main theme of the play? Was it his music, or was it more just his life, or I mean, you tell me.
The main thing was his life and the things he had to go through as
Sort of overcome adversity.
Right, adversity, yeah.
Well, and I know, so while he became a famous blues musician and was selling records, and back then I don't think that the artist really got much out of it financially, unfortunately.
I think I read where they gave him $50 for every recording that they were able to press into a record, and that was evidently quite a bit of money then. But they did not give him
no
the
royalties.
Right.
And I don't know how it eventually worked out. I'm a lawyer. Maybe I should investigate. But I noticed on Spotify, he currently has like 150,000 followers still.
Does.
So there's still somebody making money off of his music.
Yeah.
But that all lead back to the fact that even though he became a blues personality, as I understand it at least, the church still was a very important part of his life.
In fact, he had accepted his calling as a minister also. So the church
How
was
did he explain the two wives?
I don't know how that happened now.
We're all sinners. It's easy. I mean, that's the fallback, right?
But he accepted his calling as a minister, and they would call him a pastor Pastor Blind Willie Johnson or just Blind Willie Johnson, but he was a gospel. He said he sang the blues, but his best love was the gospel. So
interesting.
And some of the songs that are on Spotify, I think there's about 30 songs that you can listen to on Spotify. Some of them are gospel and some of them are sort of more traditional blues.
Yeah.
Well, I think if you're interested in the roots of music, and especially when you are looking into the roots of the blues, you need to listen to his recordings. And I know Bob Dylan recorded one of his songs. He changed the name of it, but I think there are a lot of blues artists I would love to talk to, Jimmy Vaughn and
well, so
what influence, how
there's a couple that I ran across. Peter, Paul, and Mary actually had a folk version that actually did very well in the 60s. It was a charting hit. And Ry Cooder, who's a great guitarist, but is very involved in film. He used, I forget which song, but one of the songs as sort of his template and the background for the score to the movie Paris, Texas.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Wow.
So,
I think one of the most interesting facts I read is that they on Voyager that went to Mars, right? They picked how many songs?
I'm not sure.
Like 100 songs, something that represents our world. And one of his recordings is out in space somewhere. So if a Martian finds it, they're going to say, "Okay, this is some
this
of
is
the
Earth.
roots of
It's
Earth."
Blind Willie Johnson.
Wow.
So my question after all of that is, how does it go from somebody who's a significant figure, like people in the music world know him, he was popular in his day, to where we didn't know anything about him, you didn't know anything about him? How did somebody like that slip away?
That is a mystifying. I'm just really, how, that, but someone told me at one time back in the 80s, they did have like a Blind Willie little festival in Marlin at one time.
Well, Marlin needs to get that back up.
They did to kind of commemorate him. They did a little day, Blind Willie Johnson Day for him. So.
But you brought him back in the play. All right. So tell us about your sort of, how long did it take and what was the research like and how did you bring Blind Willie back to us?
Well, I just took my time. I started writing on the play like in October of 2024. And, I just took my time and researched and kind of felt, and I talked to, he has a great nephew that's still living here. He lives in Waco.
Oh.
And and Willie Mae has sisters, like, not sisters, great sisters, something, in Seattle, Washington. So I was able to talk to the great nephew.
Oh, okay.
And, right. So they are...
they may be wondering where the royalties went to. I don't know.
Right. Yeah. So, yeah. And so I just kind of took my time. Researching and kind of figuring out, how would he have felt with this and how he felt with that.
Now, you'd written plays before?
I have.
Okay. Had you written one that was sort of biographical before?
That was the first one.
I would guess that's a little, because you're like you said, you're trying to figure out how a person that you've never met would feel. What is that like?
Yeah, it was kind of, you kind of think how you feel in a situation like that, how at that time there were a lot of barriers and challenges that he faced where when he went places he couldn't stay in certain places.
Of course. Yeah.
Right. And, so I just kind of added stuff like that in there.
Well, did you intertwine his music into the production?
Yes, we did. He went to jail.
No.
Okay. All right. Let's hear the jail story.
He's much more than a musician.
Yes. So when he went to New Orleans, he kind of stayed in New Orleans a little while. And keep in mind, this was the 30s and 20s, 30s. Well, this was 30s when it happened. He was out on Canal Street, and he was singing his song, "I could tear this building down. If I could see, I would tear this building down." Well, the story goes, a policeman walked by and said he heard him say he would burn this building down.
Okay. All right. Yeah. New Orleans policemen heard this, right? Yeah.
Yes.
No comment.
So from there, they came back and arrested him because they say he was going to burn this building down that he was sitting
Right.
on the
The
street.
pastor. Yes.
Right. And then everybody's like, he can't see. How could he burn it down?
Right.
And so they put him in jail for a night or two for that. But then they let him out.
Okay, well, that's good. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So not only did Blind Willie write great blues music, but evidently some protest songs or something.
Yeah.
Well, I think it is worth a listen if you go onto Spotify, listen to some of his recordings because they're really great.
And so, especially if you're a blues aficionado, I think
Or if you're just a blues lover.
right.
Right.
And so I think I read where he was a natural tenor, but he drops down a lot.
Real a baritone.
Really,
Yeah.
he has this big, deep voice, and I'm not a guitar. Melissa's a guitar player in the family. I'm not a guitar player, but I know a lot of like Clapton. I think cited him as an influence and whatnot. So obviously, somehow, out of a cigar box guitar and no teaching, he figured out how to become and he was a. You said steel guitar. I think he was a bottleneck.
He was.
But he didn't use the bottle on the slide. He used
A pin or
something.
knife.
A knife, yes.
He used a knife.
He used a knife, which I can't figure out how you would do that. But
I know it.
right.
Well,
So anyway, but you wrote the play, but then it got actually produced, right?
It did. It
Okay.
got
So
actually-
tell us what that's like.
Okay, so Waco Civic Theater asked me to show them the script, and back probably January, and they agreed for me to produce the play for Juneteenth.
oh, that's awesome. I
Yeah.
wish I had known. I
Right.
didn't
We
think
missed it.
we were-
So maybe. Well, Marlin needs to do it as part of their day every year.
Right.
Well,
from
didn't y'all
We
do one night
did.
in Marlin?
So we did 2 days at the Waco Civic Theater and one night at the Moreland Theater.
Right.
So how did that make you feel, seeing what you've
Yeah.
written come to fruition and actually be on stage?
Yeah. Oh, I was excited. It was just wonderful to see that happen. And the first night, Juneteenth, I mean, it was packed house.
That's great.
Yeah, it was.
That is awesome. So, probably option to be a major movie coming, right? All right. Somebody watching this podcast
Call
is going to
Kay.
say, "Hey, this is Blind," and it does seem like Blind Willie had sort of a theatrical lifestyle that
There you
would,
go.
Well, Kay, we love having you and hearing your story of writing this play and being inspired by someone who I think has inspired so many musicians.
Yeah.
And I just love to hear the personal story. And
Right.
his story certainly was very multidimensional.
right.
Right.
Well, and I guess go ahead.
And I wanted to say, it kind of ended on a sad note.
Oh, that yes.
Yeah. He moved from New Orleans to Beaumont, Texas.
Right.
And in the house caught on fire where he was living. And evidently it didn't burn all the way down, but it burned enough where he still could stay in there, but he caught cold there and died with pneumonia.
Yeah.
Now,
And
that's
it quickly, I think it was like a week after the
Right.
fire or something like that. And it
Yeah.
just, again, music is such an important thing to people. That's
Right.
as evidenced by, 8-year-old blind kid driven to get a cigar box guitar and then move to where he was in life. And so it's so often intertwined with tragedy too.
Right,
I've never understood that.
Well, the blues certainly is.
Clearly. But it is a riveting tale,
Right.
and I am certainly glad you brought it back to life
Oh,
because
thank
if we don't have people like you do things like that, then nobody's ever going to know who Blind Willie was.
Not going to know who he was.
Right.
I am impressed that in Beaumont, Texas, they do have a sign to commemorate where he lived.
All right. Well, good.
Well,
That's right.
I think that how many people were in the play?
There were 12.
It would be such a great production for schools. So I think, I mean, you're a former teacher. I think you need to do this and maybe talk to Waco Civic and say it should be like a traveling, go to the schools because it would be, I mean, I know there's some spice, maybe high schools.
Right.
But I forgot
That's what I
about
was
the
going to
spice.
say. I'd had to scale down some stuff.
A little bit.
So never
Mom,
mind.
guess what I learned today?
Okay. Why don't we go to MCC?
There you
Okay. But it would be great.
Yeah.
I'm thinking from the music education side because he's such an important figure
Right.
in music history. So I forgot about the spice.
Okay,
So
well,
I'm going to take that.
Kay
back.
is a talented playwright. She can work with this.
Well, Kay, thank you so much. It has been a
you.
pleasure. I love seeing people who learn about people in their community, you know, and he was from not far from Waco, and I think that's exciting, and someone from your culture, and he just means so much to American music.
Right.
And I love that you are dabbling in playwriting, and
How does she
not
not
just
dabbling if she's
you're
doing
getting
it?
it.
Yeah.
You're getting it on stage. So we hope you will continue to join us on Texas 10 and look out. Are you writing anything right now?
I'm not. I'm contemplating on my
All right, well,
next
maybe
move.
somebody's going to show up at your door and say, why don't you write a play about?
There you go.
I have to know, was it Bob Darden who showed up at your door?
That's who it was.
Okay, all right.
Yes. I
Yes.
want to get him on the show.
Okay, we'll
He's
get-
like the gospel expert.
Right.
I
Okay.
don't know if you know and he has a show on KWBU that's all about gospel music, and it's really good. So anyway, so thanks for joining us here at Texas 10. Continue to join us to learn more about Texas and more about Texans, and especially in this Troubadour series where we hear from musicians that have Texas roots.
And so I'm going to like, share, subscribe, do all the social media things, tell a friend. And if you have a friend in Marlin, tell them to bring back Blind Willie Johnson Day.
Yes.
All right?
I agree.
Okay.
All right. Have a good one.
Bye.
And I love this land. It takes my breath away. From Palo Duro to the Gulf Coast plain. From the heart of the hill country to the piney wood shade. I love this land. It takes